Hello and welcome to this series of videos about the railways of Great Yarmouth. In this video I shall take a brief look at the third and final station, Yarmouth Beach, and its associated lines. In 1876 the Yarmouth and Stalham Light Railway was authorised. Before this time, both Yarmouth Vauxhall and Southtown stations catered mainly for traffic to and from London or Norwich. But the promoters of the Yarmouth and Stalham Railway had their eyes to the north and west. The contractors for the line were Wilkinson and Jarvis, and the engineer was Charles Nicholson. The terminus was in Nelson Road, only 200 yards from the beach. The first section to Ormsby opened in 1877. Although originally only supposed to go to Stalham, it carried on to North Walsham, where it was renamed the Yarmouth and North Norfolk, and linking up with the line from Melton Constable in 1883, thus allowing through running from Bourne and Spalding. The line then being renamed the Eastern and Midland, itself took over by the Midland and Great Northern Joint Railway in 1892. Yarmouth Beach Station was on a narrow strip of land between Nelson Road and Wellesley Road. The original station was a very basic affair, one short platform with a timber building, no awning, no goods shed, all enclosed by a broken fence. Over the years the station was continually improved, and it finished up with a permanent building in concrete block, 3 platforms with canopies, one platform being the longest on the Midland and Great Northern system. The original temporary engine shed was improved in 1880, but in 1903 it was closed to make room for platform improvements. Old workshops and a sheet metal factory were used to create a 4-track concrete block shed with a Dutch barn style corrugated iron roof, later reduced to 3 tracks with a simple flat roof. There was also a goods shed, a 46-foot turntable, a large water tank, coaling stage and various other small buildings. Controlling the yard was a large 86-lever Midland and Great Northern style signal box. In the first few years the line was completely cut off from other railways, and any new rolling stock had to be manhandled through the streets from Yarmouth Vauxhall station. The original line consisted of 2 tracks leaving the station in a northerly direction before crossing Sandown Road. From there they continued in a generally straight line, the first crossing Beaconsfield Road via a level crossing, and then Salisbury Road via another level crossing, after which came the site of Newtown Halt, not built until 1933. From here it was now a single line until Ormsby. After Newtown Halt, the line passed beneath Barnard Avenue and Jellicoe Road via concrete bridges, built in 1913 and 1938 respectively, and then continued northwards towards Caister-on-Sea. In 1882, the Yarmouth Union Line was authorised. This was a short line from Yarmouth Beach to a connection with the Great Eastern Quayside line near Yarmouth Vauxhall. This consisted of 2 additional tracks, leaving the beach station on the west side, then running parallel with the Yarmouth and Stalham lines for about a quarter of a mile before bearing left across Nelson Road. From there the line rose at 1 in 98 in order to cross Caister Road, after which they then turned roughly south behind what is now Alderson Road, before becoming a single line and squeezing past the White Swan. From there the line became a tramway and joined the line from Vauxhall. It was during the building of this line that William Marriott arrived on the scene. He was to become locomotive superintendent and engineer. He was to play a very large part in the development of the Midland and Great Northern Railway. Finally, in 1903, the Great Eastern Railway and the Midland and Great Northern Joint Railway set up a new Norfolk and Suffolk Joint Committee to build a line from Yarmouth to Lowestoft. This took the form of a line from the Yarmouth Union Line at Caister Road Junction to Galston North Junction, where it would link up with the line to Lowestoft. 2 tracks left the Caister Road Junction and crossed the River Bure via a trussed girder bridge. They then crossed a main road and the Great Eastern Railway line into Vauxhall Station, before becoming a single line and crossing the River Yare via the infamous Braden Viaduct. After this, the line once again becomes a double line, before crossing the line from Southtown to Beccles, and finally joining the line to Lowestoft at Galston North Junction. In 1923, at the grouping, the Midland Railway became part of the London Midland and Scottish Railway, and the Great Northern Railway became part of the London North Eastern Railway. But in 1936, the LNER took over control of the locomotives which had previously been shared. Then, in 1948, at nationalisation, the whole system became part of the eastern region of British Railways. Consequently, there had always been a mixture of locomotives, too many to mention them all. As an example, in 1950, the allocation at Yarmouth Beach was 3 B12s, 4 D16s, 3 J17s, 5 F6s, and 1 each of a J65 and a J68. In this shot at Yarmouth Beach, in the background we see Ivet Mogul, probably from the Midland area somewhere, and then there's an 060, probably a J17, one of Yarmouth Beach's own engines, and in the foreground there's a J68 060 tank 68651, another one of Yarmouth Beach's allocation. And this is an example of a B12 460, of which there were 3 allocated to Yarmouth Beach. So what about train services from Yarmouth Beach? As I said previously, the promoters of the Yarmouth and Stalham had their eyes further afield. Having a connection to Spalding and Bourne meant that trains could arrive from the North and Midlands. In 1912, on a summer weekend, an estimated 25,900 people arrived in Yarmouth, many of them at Yarmouth Beach. Although there had always been local traffic, the summer season was always the busiest. This increased with the extension of holidays with pay and the development of holiday camps north and south of Yarmouth. In 1953, no less than 24 trains arrived from Melton Constable and beyond, and 21 in the opposite direction. This did not include local services. Places of origin included Birmingham, Sheffield, Derby, Nottingham and many more, some of these reversing at Beach in order to continue to Lowestoft via the Norfolk and Suffolk joint line. Perhaps the most famous of these were the Leicesters. Through expresses from the Midland appeared in 1894, but for a few years only in the summer. These trains became known as the Leicesters and ran for 65 years until closure of the line in 1959. The long-running Yarmouth to Birmingham daily service earned its place in history for no other reason than its vast range of classes and types of locomotives used. The majority of freight centred around the fishing industry, coal for the steam drifters, empty fish barrels and boxes, and of course the fish themselves being carried away to other parts of the country. But unfortunately, all good things come to an end sooner or later. In 1953 it was found that Braden Viaduct was in urgent need of repair, and the decision was made to close it. It was finally demolished in 1962. After the closure, all traffic to Lowestoft now had to use Southtown Station. And worse was to come. In 1958, the decision was made to close the Midland and Great Northern Line from the Midlands to Yarmouth Beach. The reason given being poor loadings and the duplication of lines with the Great Eastern Railway. This would produce a saving of £500,000 a year. The last day of services was the 28th of February 1959. The track was removed soon after. Yarmouth Beach Station became a car and coach park, ironically given over to the very things that probably caused its downfall. Now let's go out and see what it looks like now. So here we are in Nelson Road, and Nelson Road becomes North Deans Road. On the right is the site of the old Yarmouth Beach Station, now just a big car and coach park. We're at the buffer stops end, and all the station buildings would have been along the side of this road on the right hand side. And the houses on the right hand side of the car park itself are in Wellesley Road, and you can see the backs of those houses in some of the old photographs. And here's another view again at the buffer stops end looking north, and this whole area would have been the station, the engine shed, goods shed, sidings, turntable, and the lines would have carried on northwards straight ahead. And here we shall see shortly some old platform canopy supports with the initials of the company cast into them, and there's also some rails here that they've been left just really as an indication that there was a station here at one time. Now we're looking back towards the buffer stops there. Now, and further along Nelson Road now, or North Deans Road as it seems to be called now, this is where the two Yarmouth Union lines diverged to the left across the Nelson Road level crossing. And now we're looking back the other way towards that Nelson Road crossing. The arrow on the left is the Yarmouth to Stalham line, and the other arrow pointing down Beaconsfield Road is the Yarmouth Union line. And that line curved round, and you can just make out a curved fence there and wall, and that marks the curvature of the line, which was now rising up at one in 98, and it went down the side of Beaconsfield Road on a high walled embankment, and in order to cross Caister Road. And this is Beaconsfield Road that we're looking down, and the line went down the side here, and you can just make out in the cars parked on the left marked where this high walled embankment was, and the line was raised up on that. Okay, this is the end of Beaconsfield Road, Caister Road runs from right to left across in front of us, and the line would have crossed that via that bridge that you see there. And the other side is the site of Caister Road Junction. The Yarmouth Union line curves round there in the direction of the arrow and down to the quays, and the line to Galston North Junction would have carried straight on in that direction. So after leaving Caister Road Junction, the Yarmouth Union line curves round to the south. This row of houses in Elderson Road plots the course of it. You can see them curving round. The railway would have actually been behind those houses. And from there the line ran behind what is now a large car showroom, and then across Lawn Avenue in front of the Magistrates Court, which was the site of White Swan Yard. And this is where the line squeezed through between White Swan Public House and another building, and from here it then became a street tramway. And finally, this is where the Yarmouth Union line joined the line from Yarmouth Vauxhall. You can see the Bure Bridge on the right hand side there. The line from Vauxhall comes over that bridge and ran behind those cars in the car park there and joins our line, which is on the roadway in front of us. Now the line to Galston North Junction, after leaving Caister Road Junction, crossed over the River Bure by a bridge at this point here. You can see what's left of one of the abutments on the other side there. And from here we now are on the old alignment, which is actually a road now. We just crossed over the line into Yarmouth Vauxhall, and now we're crossing over the River Yare via the Braden Viaduct. And this is a view now of the new Braden Bridge, lift bridge. Back on the old alignment now. Now at this point where this roundabout is, our line would have crossed over the Yarmouth South Town to Beccles line, which runs from left to right. And as we go further along, over the other side of this roundabout, we come to Galston North Junction, or the site of Galston North Junction, which we've seen in our Yarmouth Southtown video. Well, that concludes our brief look at Yarmouth Beach and its associated lines. For a more detailed look at those lines, please check out my other videos on this channel. And thanks for watching.